everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to share with you some books about reading. I know, kind of a silly topic, but since National Reading Month is coming up next month in March, I thought that's a perfect time to read books about reading books. Also, I should probably warn you, my children are home again today. We've had a lot of winter storms up here in the Northeast, and so if you hear more crashing and banging like you did the other week, that's them. I did give them a lot of warnings that they need to be quiet while I make this, but we'll see if that actually happens. So, as I was researching books for this video, I came across a lot of books about libraries and librarians, so I decided I'm gonna save those ones for later, and today I wanted to focus on just books about reading. But first, if you're new here, my name is Sarah, and I show up on this YouTube channel every Sunday night with some reading tips that you can use in the classroom and some of my favorite books for different topics. I love sharing books and helping teachers use them in their classroom as much as possible. So if you're interested in that, give this video a thumbs up and hit that red subscribe button down below. Now, let's get into those books. The first book that I have is by one of my favorite authors, Todd Parr. This one is Reading Makes You Feel Good. And I just love his funky, colorful, bright illustrations in all of his books. And how he has these powerful and important messages, but makes them so simple for even the youngest kids to understand. So this one is really about how reading can make you feel good. He talks about how reading helps you learn new things. It takes you to different places and it builds imaginations. And the great thing about reading, he talks about over and over again, is that you can do it anywhere. You can do it alone, you can do it with friends, you can use it to help somebody feel better. This is a great one to kick off the power of reading with your students. So a great book about reading. This next book I have shared in probably more than one video before. This one is How to Read a Story by Kate Messner. And in this one, she goes through the different steps of how to read a story. And she breaks it down so simply that it's a really fun book to read. She says, step 1, find a story. Make sure it's a good one. Step 2, find a reading buddy, preferably somebody nice. Step 3, find a reading spot. Couches are pretty cozy. Step 4, begin. And then she goes through a few more steps on how to read a book and who to read with and how to truly enjoy the reading process. She really playfully illustrates the idea of falling in love with reading, and you can't help but smile as you go through this book. It gives some great advice about reading and appreciating it with others. Another great book about reading to share in your classroom. This next one I have also shared quite a few times before. This one is called How to Read a Book by Kwame Alexander, and similar to How to Read a Story, but I've talked about this one before. This book is an inspiring poem and has some amazing collage illustrations throughout, but as I've mentioned before, it's not a great read aloud book. The pages are very busy and the words are created in art and through collage, so it makes it really difficult to read aloud. But that being said, I think it's a great book to have in your classroom and to have on your bookshelf so that your students can pull it out and read, and so that you could share it maybe one-on-one with a student, but it doesn't make a good whole group read aloud. But as I said, I still recommend it, and it really takes readers through the journey of a great book. This next one was just released, and it's a really fun one. I Don't Want to Read This Book by Max Greenfield, and if you recognize that name, Max Greenfield is an actor. He was on a few different television shows, and so the comedy that he has in those TV shows really comes through in this book. This book is for those students who really don't like to read books, but this one is going to draw them in. This book really brings energy and laugh out loud fun as the narrator talks about all the reasons that he does not like to read books. Your kids will definitely get a kick out of this one, and it kind of breaks that fourth wall, similar to books like The Book with No Pictures or We Are in a Book. So it's an interesting take on a story, and I know your students will really like this one. The next book recommendation that I have is similar to that last one, and I don't actually have it, but this is what it looks like. And this one is about how the ultimate reluctant reader becomes a lover of books. There's this little boy who has lots of excuses for why he doesn't want to read a book. He says he won't read a book, and you can't make him. Even if you dangle him over a cliff in the rain with dragons and sharks, he's not going to do it. And you can tell through the reading that it's told through the eyes of a 6-year-old, so your younger students will really connect to this one, and they'll be really excited when the young boy is finally convinced to read a book if and only if someone he loves will read it with him. Another fun book, especially for those maybe reluctant readers in your classroom. So that's the collection of books I have today for books to read about reading books. I still think that's really fun to say. But since National Reading Month is coming up in March, I have some other videos that I think would be helpful for you. You can check out my Read Across America video, which I will leave linked here as well as in the description box down below, because even though we talk about reading throughout the school year, March is a particularly fun time to talk about how amazing reading can be, how we should be reading for pleasure, and how that's a great thing, that we should be doing it outside of school, that it's not just an assignment that we need to do, but that we should do it for fun, and that we do it as we grow up and get older, and that even adults do it for fun as well. And I just realized I have another video as well. If you check out my World Read Aloud Day video here, World Read Aloud Day was back in February, but a lot of these ideas can be used for National Reading Month as well. So, my children and my dog are very loud upstairs, and I apologize if that noise came through on this video, but you gotta do what you gotta do. I feel like that's what these past few years have been. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, hit that red subscribe button down below, and I'll be back next Sunday night with more read aloud tips and book ideas that you can use in your classroom right away. Have a great week.